Hello, hello, good morning. I somehow missed my wonderful there we go. Let's get my little intro. I don't know how we missed that intro, but I love it. I love the music of it. I love the whole vibe and everything. Okay, welcome. Today, we are diving into something that is a little bit more of the beginner's side of things. And that's exactly where I want to be today. I want to be, very focused in and honed in on everybody who is new to the space of myofunctional therapy. I am your Myo best friend, Carice Laguerre. I'm a myofunctional therapist full time. I educate, I speak internationally. I've been on more podcasts than any other myofunctional therapist. So nobody speaks about this topic better than me. I am very excited to be here with you today to really help you determine how you can get focused in and honed in on how you can make your step into myofunctional therapy the most effective way, avoiding all the common mistakes that a lot of people make. You have no idea how often people are making silly mistakes that cause many to lose thousands and it to not be an investment, it's just a very expensive course. Okay. So welcome, welcome. Hi, hello. Throw me a hi, a hello, or something in the chat just to let me know that you can see me, that you can hear me. You never know. Technology is crazy. I want to keep this going. And so if you're watching me on LinkedIn, you're watching me on YouTube, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, you can subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you turn on notifications on YouTube because these lives, they happen every single week without fail, but not at a consistent day and time. So you'll be the first to know when it happens if you turn on notifications. Please comment to expand the reach. That way, the more people this gets out to, the more we're able to advance as a field. It is my personal goal to see myofunctional therapy grow and grow expeditiously, but in a way that is going to set us up for excellence. I don't want any of the drama or any of the nonsense that's in the field currently to be perpetuated. And so, if we're going to step forward, we have to step forward elegantly and with excellence. So, make sure you're commenting. Let's expand the reach and let's just keep this going. All right, ready to dive in? First things first, myofunctional therapy is not hygiene. It's not dental hygiene. Everything you think you might know about it and how you should go about it. And like, if I wanted to, as a registered dental hygienist, if I wanted to get into lasers and I wanted to do soft tissue treatments with lasers and I wanted to take a course on that and just start implementing it right away in the practice and whatever, it's something where it's not easy to implement. It's not going to come easy to you. It is not very much at all, in most ways, like what you do with clinical hygiene. It is its own beast. Don't expect that you're going to put into a Facebook group, what course should I take? Get a bunch of links for courses and pick the right one. Okay. Just because a course might be popular, and popular is not the right word for that, but you might see something more commonly than something else. And just because it's popular in that sense doesn't necessarily mean that's the right course for you, and or that it's the right course for even the person who's recommending it. They might be telling you based on whatever little experience they have. If they've only taken one course ever, then yeah, they're going to recommend the course that they took because that's all they know. They don't know what else is out there. Or maybe they deciphered between one to two other courses and they don't know that there's over 20. Over 20. 3 months ago, I did a live stream. And we'll talk about that very briefly, but I did a live stream. It is still available on YouTube. You can access this where I went over and reviewed 13 different myofunctional therapy courses for various reasons. Like, these were the ones that were probably in the top or the upper echelons of courses, and the ones who most people are talking about in some way, shape, or form. But there are actually over 20. At the time that I did that 3 months ago, there were 17 different introductory courses. I chose the top 13. And then from there, there's been an additional three courses that I've discovered and learned are out there and people are teaching. And there's a lot. So just because somebody types something into a chat on a Facebook group, doesn't make it your jam. Okay, it doesn't make it the place that you're supposed to be. You need to do some real research and or just spend the 50 minutes that it'll take to watch this YouTube video. That way you're able to see what exactly it is that you might get out of doing a myofunctional therapy course with a specific company. But more so than that, the most common mistake is really downplaying the necessity of practice and implementation and how you will have to really use those skills. So I want you to take a second, close your eyes if you have to. If you're a RDH, and guess what? OMT is not like speech therapy either. So it's not like being in your traditional speech role. So if you're an RDH, if you're an SLP, doesn't matter, close your eyes, okay? I want you to imagine being back in school. I know a little bit of trauma for some of you, my dental friends. I get it. I've heard so much about speech and how that schooling can be traumatic as well. And so just close your eyes. I'm sorry to put you back there, but be back there, back in that zone. And I want you to imagine learning and getting all the information about hygiene or about speech therapy or about whatever it is that you do if you're happening to watch this and you're neither of those roles. All of the education. You've got the books, you've got the instructors, and you learn. But you never have clinic. You never get to practice. You only learn the steps. That's it. Imagine. Now, imagine graduating, really excited. You've got your diploma, and they want you to go out into the world and to practice this. You've maybe passed your boards, and now we want you to practice. It's scary, isn't it? It's like that doesn't even make sense. What do you mean you want me to practice? But all I've learned is just a bunch of words and things in a book. I've never had my hand in someone's mouth. I've never talked to a patient to understand or decipher what it is I should be looking for. I've maybe watched someone else do it in a course, but I haven't had my hands on to do it. I've had no hands on experience. Yeah, that's myofunctional therapy. For all 20 courses that are out there, there is one that offers on site, in person mentorship. Just one, nothing else. That is sad and disgraceful, and certainly not a standard of excellence that I think people in these high level professions where we went through really quality, standardized, evidence based education to now be put in a field that is just going to give us some instruction, but not going to give us any clinical experience. It's bizarre that that's to be expected, that that's the standard, and that we accept and allow that. And so that's a good part of what boggles my mind for some of the CE rates. But what boggles my mind for people who just will click a link, ask a question in a group, click a link, take that course, and expect to be successful, expect to flourish. That's your biggest myo mistake. You can't just ask around to what courses are available. You need to actually do some research. You need to actually spend some time learning on your own, understanding if this is really for you before you jump in. And you need to really highly value all of that experience that you got when you were learning originally your professional licensure, when you were learning in that trade, when you were learning hygiene, when you were learning dentistry, when you were learning speech. All of that came with that tangible component of clinic because that's what helped to make you successful. That's what gave you the experience you needed to now be able to accurately assess and look at people and evaluate with a new set of eyes. Not just having something that you take a look from, right? We're going to get into the CE thing in just a minute. I'm sorry. I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here because that really bothers me. But how many of us, drop it in the chat if it's you, but how many of us have signed up for some sort of online course and haven't finished it in any capacity? And or if you do finish an online course, feel totally competent in what exactly it was that you learned virtually in that setting? I mean, I've certainly taken a course and I haven't finished it. I've taken plenty of courses and felt like I needed to go learn more in order to be able to implement. Like, if that's the case, we need to start reevaluating what we're looking at when we're thinking about courses as these courses who are, yes, very introductory, but are priced as if they're comprehensive. And that's not what we're looking at. Okay. We need to start looking at that from our spend and from our return on investment. That's really important. And it should be at the forefront of what you're thinking of. You are a highly educated professional. Don't let this field and a list of 20 courses where just anybody can start one up and start teaching, don't let that list dumbfound you. You're better than this. Okay, let's look at the average rate of CE in dentistry. Spear did a research study. 2022 was the last one, so it's 2 years old, but it's still pretty standard. It pretty much, if you look at it dollar for dollar, it's pretty on spot. The average rate of CE for dental courses is somewhere between $25 to $50 per credit hour. So if I'm going to take a 2 credit course, it is likely going to cost me somewhere between, and honestly, nowadays I can find so many for free that I can get like I can get all of my CEs for absolutely free, and I really don't need to spend a dime. But if I'm going to take a 2 credit course, I can anticipate somewhere between $50 to $100 to pay for that course in dentistry. That's essentially what it's going to cost. Okay. Now, they say that higher specialized courses. So now, if I'm looking at local anesthesia, if I'm looking at taking, I talked about laser, if I'm looking about taking laser courses, I want to do Botox as a hygienist in the states that you can do that. Shout out to like Colorado and those states that are allowing that. I want to do something specialized, it's going to be on that higher end towards that $50 per credit hour. And it makes sense because you're going to be doing something more specialized. If you can do local anesthesia at $50 a credit hour, that's great. So what does that equal out to? Well, and if we were on par as a field, myofunctional therapy, if we were on par as a field with these rates, our specialty services would average the 28-hour course at $1,400. And that would be justified with the current thinking that we have, saying, oh, okay, I have to take multiple introductory courses. I hate that rhetoric. I think we, again, are better than this. We don't need to be spending $10,000 on courses just to get started. And most of those courses don't offer you in person, hands on training and education. Like, what are you paying for? Why are we paying 100 or sometimes more than $100 per credit to not get any in-person feedback? Are you doing things the correct way? Are you missing things? Is your appointment streamlined for you and how you work? Is your office setup the correct one? Do you have an appropriate workflow? Is there something else you can set up in your template for your electronic records? These are questions you'll never have an answer to without paying somebody, after you've already paid them $100 or more per credit hour for an introductory course. These are questions that you'll either never get an answer to, or you can get an answer to if you're willing to pay more. Now you're going to fly them out, you're going to pay for them time, you're going to pay to feed them, accommodate them, whatever. And now you'll get those answers. It sounds kind of ridiculous, doesn't it? Like, it's like, whoa, what is this spending? Why are we doing it like this? This is something that maybe we do need to rethink before we invest. There is a large barrier in this field. Okay. Prior to the Myo community, prior to me, coming live every week with things that are actually tangible that you can take back no matter where you are in your own tea journey, things that you can take back and you can really start to either use or consider, or it reshapes the way you think. There was nobody offering free education. They might tell you about myofunctional therapy for free, but after that, you want more, there's a paywall. And you have to cross that paywall to learn something more. And I think we need to start breaking that down and coming back to the high value, highly educated, licensed professionals that we are. Myofunctional therapy is not an evidence based field. I don't care what anybody tries to tell you. Again, I have another lecture on that where that's broken down very eloquently, I might say. But it's not evidence based. It is eminence based. It's a pseudoscience. It's pretty much based on, yes, clinically, we do see some results. We can't justify that based on any research that's currently out and available. We can't. That research is based on some standard of 7 to 10 exercises, some preset programs, or provider selected programs, and there's no context as to what exactly that means, where that provider was taught, what that provider used as part of their standardization, if it was a personalized program, what was their selection for those exercises. There's no standardization in the field, so it's not really a thing. So to be paying these exorbitant fees for something that's really not a thing is a little cuckoo for all of us. Okay. We can do better. We can do better. We can do better. Dental professionals, 3 times as likely to lose their investment because OMT is not dentistry. It is not hygiene. It is not traditional dentistry. It has absolutely nothing to do with that. That is why it is not in any of your dental state practice acts. It is not dentistry. Whereas if I am a physical therapist, if I am a speech language pathologist, if I am an occupational therapist and I take a myofunctional therapy course, I already know how to work with clients one-on-one in these more therapeutic ways and settings. And I can implement the myofunctional therapy, I can infuse it into what I'm already doing. So those professionals tend to take a course and are able to now improve upon what they've been working on and doing just traditionally clinically by adding in the OMT. And now they're making gains on their investment. Whereas dental professionals are lost in the sauce. We have no idea what we're doing after we come out of a course. I've been there, I've done that. I don't want that for you. I can't tell you how many people can tell you that that was their experience too. You take a course, you are just overloaded with information, you are completely confused, you have no idea what the next step is to take, or you've taken some cookie cutter course where you will find out, sure enough, that those cookie cutter rules don't apply to everybody and you'll get stuck in some places that you'll be like, I don't know what to do. I get those messages all the time too. There are certain courses where I can tell you for sure, I know they're teaching cookie cutter because everybody I talk to has no idea what they're doing. You need to be able to use your investment. It's not an investment otherwise. If you have money to throw away, I would encourage you to throw it away in different ways. Take your family on a nice vacation. Go buy yourself a wonderful purse. Go get yourself like a really nice purse if you have money to throw away. You don't need to spend it on a course that you're not going to get that investment back. That's what makes it an investment. It's not just a purchase. It is an investment because you're anticipating you'll make that money back. Okay. So today I'm going to help you kind of decipher where you can determine what's the best course for you, what's your best plan of action, and how you can actually make your investment, because I don't want this for you. That regret that I've seen time and time again. I have free calls. I'll talk to any one of you any point in time. I'm so excited to talk about myofunctional therapy anytime I can. Many of you have my link. I'll share my link again. It's just bit.ly. So, bit.ly link, bit period ly /chat with Carice. My name is on the screen underneath me. So chat with Carice, not my last name. And all that goes together, no spaces in between those words. But bit.ly/chat with Carice, you can access my calendar, get on at any time. I talked to so many people, so many of them who took a course a year ago and still haven't done anything with the information. They're still so lost, have no idea how to do it, who took a course and are just so regretful. Like, what can I do with this outside of working in Myo? Because I don't want to do that. I've just decided that this isn't for me. Well, I'm sorry, $3,000 later that you decided this wasn't for you. I wish there was a better way, and now there is with the Myo community and with our library of YouTube resources. But I don't want that regret for you. I want my peers, I want my colleagues to have better and to do better and to be better. And what I hope is not to put other courses out of business. No, absolutely not. I want all of us to win. I want them to start offering more, to do more, to understand that we all have to work at a level of excellence to where it should be hard to discern between one course or another. It should not be an easy pick. It should not be, if I want to learn this, I have to take this course because nobody else is talking about it. If I want hands on, I have to take this course because nobody else is offering it. We should all be at a high standard where it should be really difficult to discern between us to where we can almost be at collegiate level. That would be phenomenal. Okay. So, how do we get there? Listen, you're going to need some things today. Okay. If any of this is resonating with you, I'm telling you, you're going to need to grab a pen, grab a paper, get your phone out. If you're watching this on your phone, you definitely need a pen or paper, or open up your laptop, open up your computer, open up your iPad, get the notes section out. You're going to need to do that. I'm going to ask you some really pressing questions. I'm going to give you a lot to think about. And if you're in the middle of your course selection, this is probably going to be the best way for you to hone in and say, yes, okay, this is what I want out of course. These are non-negotiables, and these are the things that I have to have as my standard, and this is the criteria upon which I will judge courses. I will no longer ask in groups, what's the best course? Because that's not going to give you any feedback that is special to you. And you are special. You are special, okay? So here are the questions you need to answer. You do not have to write these down right now. You can start if you want, but leave yourself gaps in between. We're going to break down each of these in the next coming sections, okay? So here are the questions that you need to ask yourself and that you have to answer, and we're going to break them all down, okay? Question 1. What do you want out of OMT? What do you, deep in your soul, want to get out of OMT? Some hygienists are just experiencing burnout. Some SLPs are experiencing frustration. You're stuck on cases. You have no idea why you're not getting the progress on these sounds. You are burnt out and tired of clinical hygiene. Your body's breaking down, and you don't know how much longer you can work for these people that don't seem to respect you. So if that's all you want out of it, is some sort of answer as to, okay, well, what is it that I'm going to get in a new career, or what is it that I'm going to be able to add to get more progress in my speech therapeutic outcomes? Sure, that's great, but I want you to dive a little deeper, okay? I want you to have one specific thing. You can have a list if you want. But I need you to have your top one thing you absolutely must know or be able to answer by the end of the course. You're going to take an introductory course. What is it that you absolutely positively must know without a shadow of a doubt at the end? Now, for some, I've talked to some people recently who their doctor does sleep. So they're doing sleep appliances and like, what is the application for myofunctional therapy and dental sleep medicine? That's the one thing I must know, and I have to know how to work with those people, because if I don't, I have no value to this office. Me just doing regular hygiene, me just doing regular myo that's not servicing a dental sleep market, that does nothing for me. If I'm just doing myo and I'm expecting outcomes and I have no idea how this applies to this appliance that my client will be wearing every single night they'll be wearing this. It will make changes in their dentition. It will make changes in their corticomotor function. And I have no idea how to deal with that. I have to know, right? So that's an idea of one thing that, based on what you want, you need to know how to work with. You have to know an answer to a specific question, like what's the one thing you must know. If you are having trouble with that, sit with it. You probably need more information. You need more education as to how myofunctional therapy can be implemented. Some of the calls that I have with people are really just like, which one of these videos that you have, there's over 40 videos that you have that I should really look at right now, like which one of these are the best ones? That's a perfectly wonderful thing. I have myo careers. I have ways to use myofunctional therapy that are traditional, non-traditional. And so if you're like, I don't really want to be a therapist, I have to know how else I can use this. Awesome, there's a video for that. And then you can discern from there what's the one thing you must know if you're going to take a course. So you can look at additional education. You can get additional resources. You can get all of that information. That way you can discern what's the one thing, but you have to know that. You have to know that, because you could very easily wind up in the wrong course feeling like, oh man, I have to take another one because this other one talks about it. I wish I took this course first. I got an email a couple of weeks ago and I wanted to put it out. I swear I should have put it out. But I got an email a couple of weeks ago, and I'll ask permission before I ever do put it out. But just emailed literally just one line, like, I've wasted thousands of dollars before I found you. And I'm like, oh, like, I'm so grateful for you too, that that's something you were able to acknowledge and understand. But I want better for, those who come after you, to not spend that money and to not, be in those situations where you've spent so much money and you feel like you've gotten nowhere. So how do you want to practice is your next step to that. A lot of different courses that talk about myo a lot of different ways. There's courses even taught by dentists, and those courses taught by dentists are likely going to help you work more in the dental office, right? If that's your goal, awesome. There are courses for that. If you want to work as an employee of another myofunctional therapist, like you're like, I would love to do myo, but I want to work under somebody who has their own practice, there are courses where the instructors live that life. They're about that life. They have people who work for them. They could probably guide you best and tell you how you can be the best employee of a myofunctional therapist. Do you want to work in not dentistry? Oh my gosh, mobile myo. Do you want to work mobily? I do mobile therapy. I've done myo every way. I've been an employee. I've been in a dental practice. I've been per diem. I've been like just independent contractor. I've done all sorts of things. I've done independent. I have a home office. I have telehealth. I have mobile services. I could tell you about all aspects of this. But if you're looking for like a streamlined thing, you really need to understand how you want to practice and where you can get the best reflection of that practice. So if you want to do all telehealth, I might know a great course for you where there's somebody who is successfully building a business and works full time in that business doing just a telehealth practice. They do nothing else, just telehealth. They might have the right course for you. You have to know what you want out of it though. When you leave the course, what is it you want to know? How do you want to practice? What is this course going to do for you? Question one. Okay. So start planning that out. Two, who do you want to work with? You do not have to work across the lifespan. You don't have to see everybody. A jack of all trades is a master of none. And I would much rather you be a master of a trade. That is what Myo Launch is all about. Like, segment yourself. Be really good at like a thing. Be the go-to person for that thing. If I want TMD at this point, Vita has really put herself out there as the expert in TMD. Most people are like, hey, I have a client, might be above my pay grade. Let me send them to Vita, because she's really put herself out there as the master of a specific thing. You need to do that too. What exactly is it that you want to master? Okay. Do you want to master tethered oral tissues and be like the tongue tie myo person? There are plenty of other providers who can do all the other things. You want to be in alignment with who you want to serve and who you feel you can show up the best for. There are some people who have told me they want to do just women's health. I love that. I love that. As a woman who is very open about being in perimenopause, like, I love that. There's nothing I love more than like a good deep dive into hormones, into women's health, into supplements, into how you can help to manage all of these different things that are happening in our bodies that are unique to our bodies, that Myo can help to leverage and take a step up from. I love that. You could be that person if that's your passion, if that speaks to you. You could work with only children. You could be like, I've always wanted to be a teacher and I only want to work with children. I've never worked in pediatrics, but I always want to work with children. I don't know. You could master doing Myo with children. You could do just obstructive sleep apnea. You could do just dental sleep medicine. That's DSM. If you're ever looking at like, what are these acronyms standing for? DSM, dental sleep medicine, and just those appliances. You could work with ortho, just with people who are in active orthodontic treatment, people who are in, post expansion, they've done phase 1, they're going into phase 2 of orthodontic treatment. How can you help them best? How can you help some people? Myofunctional therapy is really, really good at helping some people to open up that deep bite. So what starts as a deep bite, you can help to open up a bit. That way they're able to move the mandible forward. And I don't think a lot of people even know or understand the mechanics enough of orthodontics to really grab that these concepts are the backbone of it. It's not just where your tongue rests. It's like the whole complex of how all this comes together to impact the dentition, to how we get a deep bite, to how you can open that up, and how the mandible would be able to advance only after you've opened up a deep bite. You have to understand all the intricacies of certain things. Otherwise, you really become a jack of all trades. And so you become a master of nothing. And you'll talk to certain people and you won't have answers for some of their questions. And you'll feel like you know nothing. You know why? Because you know too much. Hone in. Like, get specialized. You want to work only in gut health? Work only in gut health. Digestion, there's so many people with irritable bowels who will benefit so much from myofunctional therapy. You just have to know how to work with them. And so, what's the right course for that? Who do you want to show up for? Who you want to work with? Define your lane. And you could be the greatest person who's ever practiced in that lane. Question 3. How much time can you dedicate to learning? It seems straightforward, but nothing in life is straightforward. I assume you're working. If you're not working, I assume there's a reason, that maybe you started a family, or you're taking care of a loved one, or you're whatever. Like, do you have time to actually sit down and learn myofunctional therapy? One, for how it is didactically, for just getting the information here. But then two, like clinically, can you really get the time into practice? Best way to really decipher that is, how do you learn best? Can you take an online course and really get all that information in? Or are you a hands-on type of person? Do you need to be in person for your course? There are courses that are only taught in person, that you can only go and sit with them for 3 days to do this 28 hours. That might be the best for you if you cannot learn virtually. If distance learning does not work for you, don't do it. If distance learning works for you, but you need time, you're like, I can do this, but I can't do it in a day or 2 days or 3 days. And I can't have just like a year of access to the information. I need this in a longer span of time. I maybe need 5 years of access to the information. I need a lifetime of access to the information. Like, what is the time that you need to be able to do this? If you've got an hour a week, can you sign up for a course that's got a cohort where they're meeting for just an hour a week? And maybe you're getting some education during that hour. But then how do you like really put the information in here if you've only got an hour a week and you spent that whole hour in a lecture? You don't get to study, to really like ingest the information. Like, what do you do with that? How much time can you really dedicate to learning? What's your timeline for learning? 2025, I'd really like to be in my own practice and I'd want to whatever. Like, okay, great. So you need to learn like now, like ASAP? Or what time in 2025? I mean, you really need to get down to the nitty gritty. So recently, I learned the importance of having a 1 year, a 3 year, and a 5 year plan. That way you can reverse engineer it. And that's the goal. You want to reverse engineer. You want to be able to go backwards and be like, oh, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do in order to get to that goal out there in the distance. So 5 years from now, you want to be the top myofunctional therapist in women's health. What do you have to do so that 3 years from now, you're on track to being that? 3 years from now, maybe you have your own course. Okay, 1 year from now, how do you get to that, to having your own course and being like the specialist in that? Well, you've got a lot of studying to do. You've got to take a course, you've got to study, you've got to understand women's health. Maybe you take a women's health course. Maybe you start reading and investing in other books and knowledge and material. Okay, so if that's your 1 year goal, to take a myo course and to invest in learning all that you can in women's health, in supplements, in hormones, in whatever, what does it have to break down to in that year? Okay, I have 6 months I can dedicate to a myo course, and the other 6 months I want to dedicate to whatever. Like, I'm just breaking it down backwards for you so that you can see how we're reverse engineering. If 5 years from now you want to be the top person, you probably need to dedicate a solid year to education and to how you're going to get there. What's that timeline? What does that timeline look for? Do you want an entire year so that you can really piecemeal this and understand it, because you learn best in smaller segments, and the repetition of being able to go back to that information over the course of the year is how you're going to really nail it? My friend, you've just put together your whole ideal scenario. And now you can look for a course out of 20 options. You can look for a course that's going to work for you to meet that goal with that end goal in mind. But if you don't know and you're just following someone else's schedule because they have a class coming up, I can't miss this class coming up, you're going to potentially pick the wrong thing. Okay? All right. What support do you need to get started? Don't skip over this question. Don't skip over this at all. If you are a single individual, you still need support of some way, shape, form, or kind. Okay. I remember being in hygiene school and everybody had patients lined up, like their friends, their family, everybody was ready to work and to like come in for them as patients in the clinic and whatever. I had none of that. Okay. I had a family that supported me because they were like, look, you need to do something with your life. And so I was like, I'll go to hygiene school. Can't be that hard. You're just cleaning teeth. Very wrong. I was very wrong. Okay. But they were not about sitting in the chair and helping me to get to that goal. I had no friends or family come in. My husband came in and supported me, but that was it. That was it. I needed support to get through school. Like, you're going to need support in some way, shape, or form, even if you're a single person. So you're going to need support. But what support do you need? Who can be your first clients? Like, who's going to be your, I hate to say it, but guinea pigs? Who can you work with that'll give you direct feedback? One of the best things I love. So when I got into myofunctional therapy, I got into it to help my children. My children, all kinds of messed up. Like everybody got problems, and those stories you can go back to a live stream where I talked about my journey. But it started to help my kids. But what I love about working in myofunctional therapy today, although I work across the lifespan, I know, do as I say, not as I do. Although I work across the lifespan, I really love working with adults because adults give you the best feedback. They'll be like, well, this hurts when I do this thing. And so I found that if I'm able to support this or stop using this, or like they give you so much direct feedback. They're all in their head about it. And so they're overthinking it and they're doing all the things, and they will point out to you their recruitments, their compensations, their dysfunctions in ways that sometimes it's not easy for you to see. You can't tell. You can't really get all of the internal musculature. Anything that's externally looking strained or stressed or prominent when they're doing something else, yeah. But something that's really subtle that might be causing a pain or triggering a nerve, you have no idea. So I love working with adults because you get so much feedback. And so I've learned so much by working with them. And then I've worked with so many people across different types of specialties. Like I've learned things from working with physical therapists. I've learned things from working with occupational therapists. I've learned things that have helped me to level up my game and to show up with more excellence. Okay. Because if you think I don't show up with excellence when I'm practicing myofunctional therapy, you got another thing coming. But show up with more excellence because I have more advanced information. Kids are more likely to be like, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to do it anymore. Or they just shut down or whatever. But they're not going to give you the feedback like an adult would. So can you have children, your nieces, your nephews, your kids, your whoever, be your first guinea pigs, for lack of a better word? Yeah. But will you get your best feedback from that? I don't know. I don't think so. Can you have your coworkers be your first clients if your coworkers are like your people and they're really down for you and they're wanting to help you through this? Um, yeah, that would be great. They'll give you a lot of good feedback. You can have whoever you want be your first clients, but you're going to need first clients. Like this is just like clinic all over again when you were in school. You're going to need people that you're going to have to do stuff with and you're going to mess up. But the best part about clinic for me was that somebody was over my shoulder. I can't tell you. And shout out to Jessica. We're still good friends today, but she was my partner in hygiene school. And oh my God, I love Jessica. She's just such an amazing person. But she was in the chair and I was so nervous. I'm shaking with these sharp instruments. And the professor comes over my hand. She's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I am so scared that I'm going to hurt her. And I think that there's a certain element of that is present in OMT too, is that you're afraid you're going to mess up somebody. You're afraid you're going to do something wrong. And the best part for me for clinic was that I had somebody over my shoulder making sure that I wasn't going to hurt her. I wasn't going to hurt anybody. I was going to come out better because of having someone over my shoulder while I did these things. And so that's another reason why I value mentorship. You need somebody to look over what you're doing, to say, hey, that's not the way that's supposed to be done. That exercise, it shouldn't look like that. That's not the way you should, you know, when you're assessing, that's not the way you should feel this muscle. You're going to need to move your hands a little bit more this way. You're going to need to whatever. If there's nobody over your shoulder to help you with those things, how do you know? How do you know? Are you going to be the shaky Carice that's like, I'm afraid I'm going to hurt her? I don't want that for you. So, like, who could be your first clients? That was all to get into who could be your first clients. I'm sorry, I go into tangents. How much can you sacrifice in work? Yeah, maybe taking days off, time off, running out early or whatever. Or how much can you sacrifice in time? How much can you not be present at home? I am somebody who works for myself. I am home technically a lot, but I am rarely home. Like, I'm home right now. My children know not to come in here. I do not have physical presence or time in my home right now, right? The concept of having to sacrifice that time might mean, yeah, you are locked up in whatever your office is, or you're locked up at a Starbucks, or you're locked up in a Panera Bread, little booth. You're locked up in a booth, studying, honed in, trying to get this stuff down. That's a sacrifice in time away from your family, away from your loved one, away from your spouse, away from your dog, away from your whatever. You're away. Can you sacrifice time? Or is time a precious asset to you? Like, time means a lot to me. I think a lot of people know that I go back and forth between New Jersey and Florida. Multiple reasons. The top one reason is my father hasn't been well since 2017. He just has not been. Like, there's been so many ups and downs. It's such a roller coaster. So every month I want to be there. I want to be there. My brothers both live in different states. I live in different state. Like, I'm going to be there. So once a month for a week every month, I find my way back to New Jersey. I have to be there to support my mom, to be there for my dad, because time with them is a precious resource. So if somebody had to ask me, can I sacrifice that week in New Jersey every month so that I could do some XYZ course and it's only going to be for 4 months? I might be like, no, I don't have time to sacrifice. That time is a precious resource to me and I want to use it in this way. And so, if sacrificing time is a problem for you for whatever reason, now's probably not the time to start your Myo course. Or if it is, you might want one that goes a longer duration or allows you to learn in smaller bursts. That might be the best way for you. So, how much time can you sacrifice? Who supports your spend? So many people say the same thing, like, oh, my spouse just does not get it. I've been spending so much money on these courses and they just don't get it. Or, like, I saw the other day that somebody posted that their spouse has finally, like, understood what's going on, like why you keep spending all this money on this, that, and the next. Do you want it to be a battle in your home? Do you want it to be a battle with your loved ones all the time? Like, why are you spending this, that, and the next? What are you doing? Do you have a support system that's going to prop you up and help you along and get you to where you need to be in this? And I mean, you really want to understand who supports your spend, because you want to be responsible with the money that you are spending, and you're going to make it an investment by answering all these questions. Okay. So, who supports you? How are you best supporting them by making sure your investments are being done smarter and helping you towards your specific goals? Very important. Okay, final question. What support do you need in perpetuity? Ongoing. What support do you need from here through the end of your career? It's really important. It's really, really important. I think most of you, if you're blessed, will have multiple mentors that are in your life. How you acquire those mentors is neither here nor there. Okay. I've had some mentors I didn't pay a dime to. I've had some mentors that, I've had to pay to work with them. You can make friends, you can have a study group, you can whatever. Like, what support do you need in perpetuity? Will you need to have access to the content that is in a course in the future? Are you the type that prints everything, that downloads all the things, and that you're going to have your access because you're going to keep it personally in your, external hard drive, in your internal computer hard drive? You're going to keep it in a Dropbox. You're going to keep it in a OneDrive. You're going to keep it in your Google Drive. You're going to keep it somewhere. You're going to print out all the things. You've got a big binder. You're ready. You've got all your notes. Is that all the access that you need? Because then it doesn't matter if, of course, access expires after 60 days, after 90 days, after a year. It doesn't matter. You don't need lifetime access because you're going to have your lifetime access in your own way. if you are one of those people who wants to be able to download and like print all the things, does the course allow you to do that? That might be a really good thing to think about. Does it allow you to download the content, or do they find this to be their intellectual property that you are not able to download, and so you're going to have access in a different way if you would like to come back to that content in the future? Understand how you want access. Understand what the access and the limitations to access might be and how that works for you. Can you invest in additional course content? Is there additional course content? Do they have tiers to their thing where they're like, this is our intro course, this is our business course, this is our bonus exercises course, this is our specialty course? And then you're like, oh, okay, I got to do this and this and this and this and this. And it's like a gradual thing. Can you invest in that? Or are you like, look, my funds are low. I've got to stretch what I've got right now. I've got to maximize what I've got right now because this is what I'm allotted to spend. And so I have to make sure that I get the most out of this. And if I don't, I am done. I just don't have any more money to spend. So can you invest in additional course content? Is that something that you need? If you can invest and you're like, look, I'm willing to take multiple courses, awesome, take multiple courses. If you need to invest in additional course content because the content that you want is not available like in your course, like MyoGut, my MyoGut course and Myo Launch, if you're trying to work with gut health, I'll tell you none of the courses that I've seen out of the 17 that I looked at, I don't know about the other three, but I'm going to tell you 100%, I think without looking, that they don't have any sort of gut health support, and how you work with gut health and how gut health really links back into the whole Myo thing and how you can really treatment plan for that. So I don't think that they have it. So MyoGut is something that's not even in Myo Pathway, okay? MyoGut is something that would be a specialty course. But how much is that specialty course? Like, is that something you can invest in after doing your introductory course? Like, look into these things because these are going to be the things that are going to get you to closer to your goal, if that's your goal. If you're looking to work on women's health, can you do another course that's focused on women's health, whether it be a health coaching program or whatever, or like what other additional support will you need beyond a Myo course? Can you invest in that other stuff? If you can't, you might want to just save up until you can. Or you might want to just kind of, finagle it where you're going to look at different books and resources and other things and other ways to get that information. Okay. What kind of access would you like to your cohort? Now, a lot of these courses are certain cohorts. So you'll have 8 weeks or 12 weeks or 15 weeks of instruction with a set group of people, and then you move on and the instructor moves on and there's a new set of people. Do you want access to your cohort? Will you have access to your cohort? Is there a way for you guys to remain in contact? Will there be a Facebook group? Will there be a WhatsApp group? Will there be some sort of group, private community or something? Okay. Your course mates, if it's a group that goes in ongoing like enrollment, Myo Method, Myo Pathway, those types of things. If you want access to your course mates, how can you access them? Like, is there a group for that? How do you access your instructor? Is it just through email? Is it through email and, text? Can you text them? Can you call them? Can you schedule an appointment if you need to? Like, what kind of access do you want? And do they offer that? Very important. Okay. Your goal with these questions is to really bridge the gap between where you are now, really unsure, you have no idea what you want and what's best for you in a noisy world of 20 different courses. You're going to bridge the gap between where you are now and who you want to be. That person who is 100% defined in, this is the course I need to take. One that offers da 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 da. Okay. Only after you have answered all of those questions should you interview instructors. Do not skip this step, okay? Do not pass go. Do not just pick a course just because. You want to interview instructors, okay? You don't know us. You don't know who we are. You don't know our motivations. You don't know if we care. You don't know if our learning style is best for you. Like, you have no idea. You have to interview your instructors. Make sure you're asking questions. Get on a phone call. If they do not have time for a phone call with you or they don't respond to questions from you, red flag. The biggest of all red flags. A giant red flag that should say if they don't have time for you now, once you've spent money, they certainly won't have time for you. Like they're not going to make extra time for you because you've spent money on them. Like, no, absolutely not. So that's a big red flag. Okay. Everybody should be willing to talk to you, to answer your questions, and to let you know if this is the best course for you. Because as an instructor of a course, I would hope that other people believe the same way that I do. I don't want people taking my course who are not ideal for it. I don't want people taking my course who are not going to benefit and feel like it's given them something that they didn't have before. I want them to come out of it stronger, better, and more equipped to do the things that they want to do with that content. And so I want to make sure everybody aligns with me. I don't want you to take my course and be like, well, it didn't have anything in it about gut health, so I hated that. If that's what you're looking for, I'm going to tell you, look, that my course is not the one that's going to give you that. I'm going to give you the real. I'm going to be like, look, I don't think my course is the best for you. I actually always do that on a call. I like to give at least two recommendations. So if it's not for you, it's not for you. If I'm not for you, I'm not for you. Like, I don't want you taking a course just because. Don't feel like if they're offering you a sale or a promotion, like that sale or promotion won't still be around later. Sales come back all the time. They do. So if the course was on sale, you found them at a booth at a particular conference, or you ran across an ad, you're going to see that same ad again. That ad will come back. It will. Even if it's another year later and it's like a Black Friday thing or whatever, like it'll come back. Or some of these instructors will offer you the discount just later on. Like, hey, look, I really need to think about it. Can I have this discount later? If they're like, no, then no. But I guarantee you the course discount will come back. The promo will come back. I guarantee it. Nobody's ever done with their promotions. There are 20 different courses. It's a capitalistic society. They're going to have a sale at some point. You'll be fine. Okay. And I want you to know that the number of instructors is not a valid metric upon which you should be like, oh no, I need to take a course with the most instructors. That's not. You want to look at the quality of the education. You want to look at how much it aligns with you and your goals and where you need to be. Don't look at how many instructors there are. Like, oh, there's only one person teaching. That can't be good. It's kind of ridiculous. Is that one person really well educated? Like, would I like to take a course from Elon Musk versus, 10 different instructors who are hoping to be Elon Musk one day and are not there yet? I don't know. Whatever. After you've interviewed instructors, and I want you to interview multiple, but after you've interviewed multiple instructors, only then and only then should you pick a course. Okay? Don't pick a course until you have understood entirely what it is you need to get out of it. Make sure you ask all your questions, you're confident about their answers, you vibe with them, you feel like that's your person, this is the person you need to work with. Then pick a course. All right? I don't know. I hope I was very clear. I hope I was able to really engage with you in a way that really helped to satisfy all the questions that you might have had about how you go about learning myofunctional therapy. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. But for now, I'm out. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye, friends.